Right. I know she just came out of the jungle too.
I did. Sorry.
It's beautiful. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Well, first of all, I'd like to say thank you that you contacted me. It's a real honor to be with all these amazing midwives, you know. Um, I've been around not so long, 25 years. And yeah, I just came out of the jungle today. So I have no Wi-Fi and I don't have a presentation. And I don't have a present, but like anyone can call me and talk to me whenever they want to. I'm open for that if I'm online. So I want to thank all of you, the organizers, because it's so important that midwives get this platform, that women can see that midwives are here. We're being spoken about. In Mexico, we usually get invisibilized by the government, and it's been a hard time and we've had to be very resilient. And therefore, I give thanks to the Great Mother, the Great Mother that has brought me here, and my children and all the children I have accompanied. I also give thanks to Doña Antonia, who was my teacher for many years, and all the midwives who walked with me this way, and we learned together, and all the midwives here as well, because these conferences are important and they're very inspiring. And it was interesting, my connection. I decided to go on a sabbatical this year, and I wasn't going to do any births, so I've only attended about 11 births this year. I'm not doing any, not doing so many. And so when you guys reached out, you decided what I was going to talk about, and I think that's something that's important, what the audience wants to hear. So I want to talk about traditional Mayan midwifery here in Mexico, and it's really connected to the Great Mother energy, right? And I think that's what brought me here to Mexico. But first, I want to say that when I had my first baby, in Switzerland, I'm originally from Switzerland. Um, I had her in 1995, and I had her in a birthing center with midwives. And, I prepared like any mother would prepare. I was 23, and I wasn't expecting what was coming, because I literally had a spiritual awakening in my birth. And when the wave started, I was out in the universe, and I was, it was painful, yeah, but it was amazing. And I connected with the Great Mother energy, and I saw my baby, and literally my brain exploded. What sometimes now they say is when your pineal gland like gets activated. That's what I felt I had. And I remember my baby coming between my legs, in the pool, and I grabbed her, and I stood up, and I said, I want to do that again. And the midwife was like, what's wrong with this woman? And then I knew I wanted to become a midwife, but I really felt I needed this connection to earth, and be able to be outside and barefoot and connect, and also to be with midwives who are connected to the earth, because I felt that was missing for me. So after my second baby, I found this place in Mexico by the beach, and decided to start my journey as a midwife. But it was always from the perspective of a mother, because I free birth, a lot of my babies. I think four of them, half of them, and the other time there were midwives there, but they didn't really do very much. They supported me. And so I always think from the perspective of the mother. And then my whole journey as a mother of 8 children really brought me to this moment where I realized that our society doesn't have any space for motherhood. And I started thinking about it more and more and more, and that really, because I lived in a Mayan community, I had children from a Mayan man, so I was like in the community, as part of the community, and really the children are born into a tribe. And you have a whole structure. My sisters-in-law, to all the cousins, they were all running around, but there were 20 children, and the women were cooking together. And I just realized this is what made me be able to become, because a lot of people say, you're crazy, you're a mother of 8 and a midwife, how do you do it all? And it's really like the mothering process for me had to be supported by other people, not just by one father. And especially because I didn't have the fathers either. So I start exploring this, and I realize a lot of women are suffering. So a lot of women have their spiritual awakening at birth. They're empowered. They feel so powerful, and they're so there. And then all of a sudden, postpartum hits them, and they don't know what to do with their life. They feel their husbands don't understand them. They feel really neglected by society. They don't feel part of society. So really, I start analyzing there's something wrong with our society. And then I come up with I read about these terms like matriarchal. So in China, there's a matriarchy called the Mosuo, and they really function very differently. And there are some basic markers. And the basic markers is that matriarchy has like a baseline philosophy for everything in life, which is we do everything creating and nurturing. So it's a society based on mother principles, because the mother nurtures and creates life. So if we live in the patriarchy dominates and controls life. So let's say we build our houses to not feel the heat. We control it. We build air conditioning. So this is a dominance over nature. If we would build a house in a matriarchal system, we would build a hut made out of organic material that doesn't affect anyone. And just everything in nature would be different, and especially the way we see women. So a lot of women's movements talk about equality, and that we are all on the we all have equal rights and whatever. But as soon as you come to maternity, this kind of shifts for all women. Now, my question is, if you want to read a bit more about, like the difference between the bonobos and the chimpanzees, they're, of course, they're mammals, but there you can see the differences between a patriarchy and a matriarchy. very clearly. So the chimpanzees only have sex when the female is in heat. The macho alpha eats first. They kill and they rape. It's part of their culture. And the bonobos, which seem like smaller chimpanzees, genetically nearly the same, they have sex all the time. They never have any violence. They don't kill each other. The only time they have violence is when the females try to stop a male from raping another ape. And it's interesting because the females come together. So the first person that eats is an old ape, then a young chimp, and then the females and the alpha male last. So what happens is that females start bonding and creating this protection for society. This is really what the matriarchy is about. So in a way, most midwives are matriarchs, right? Because we kind of bond together and protect women in our society. But how can we like bring that more into being through our work? So like one thing we do is we have the red tent sessions. So we bought a physical red tent, and then we get all the women, we attend together and their mothers and their children, and then we have a session because it's exactly this kind of bonding. Reunions of women are very powerful. And then being led from by a midwife, invoking the great mother and the spirit. And it's very interesting because all the generations come together and have something to say, no? I think also, well, women-centered care, listening to women, but it's also this kind of midwifery care where, you come 2 or 3 midwives and you're just hanging out at the woman's house for a couple of hours and really being there, maybe helping her like wash some plates, help feed the baby, or do you need some help there? Because that's traditional midwifery, right? I think in a modern care, in a modern model, in a Western model, a midwife doesn't do all that stuff anymore because she has a schedule and she has to go, and then she becomes very patriarchal. She starts dominating her clients and saying, oh well, this isn't right and we have to do this. So I think for us to be able to create peaceful births is really important to respect the other. It's all about the mother. It's not about the midwife. How much time do I have? Because I had this whole long speech.
Yeah, about 2 more
You
minutes.
Yeah. Uh-huh. And I do think if we could be as midwives, not only like, we're like kind of Sherpas at the time of birth. We bring them, we guide them through the birth, but maybe we also have to guide them through this first year of motherhood and how they can change their reality. And we're still a part of it. I know my clients, I've already tended the children of the children. And because we've always had a very close relationship over the years, and in that way the midwife becomes a guidance in the community, like for a change, because we really need to change as a humanity. Otherwise we're going to be we're already in big problems. But for me it's like a shift. Let's take out control and domination and put in nurture and creation of life in everything we do, in every basis, even with our own children. And so I want to thank you all so much. I know it's maybe a bit radical what we talk about, but I don't know if it resonates with you. We have a foundation. It's called the Osamayor Foundation.org, and you can go online. Also, the Cueva de la Partera. And we have an online school, which there's free material, but it's all in Spanish. That's why I wasn't really, oh, thank you.
Thank you
Thank
so
you
much.
Yeah. I loved what you were sharing just about even the chimpanzees, and I didn't know all that stuff, just to like have those visuals and understandings is it really sets the stage of kind of how the mind works, and like how you're saying like they were not angry when they were just having sex all the time. And it's funny because sometimes I'm just gonna say this is super personal, but my husband will be like, "We just need to have sex because we're not getting along right now." I'm like, okay. And it makes so much sense when you stated it like that. I'm like, that makes so much sense. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we need more sex.
More sex, more babies.
More
More-
babies.
yes, and
Thank
more
you
mothers.
so much.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you. We just put your Instagram in the chat, and if you would like to share that link that you had as well, if you'd like to put that in the chat
Oh
too.
yeah, sure.